in the show.
You're live
There
now.
we go. All right. Thank you, Bill. Well, very good. Well, welcome everybody. This planning board meeting, Wednesday, April 19th, 2023. First item on our agenda is a roll call. I see virtually we have Krista Swinzer and we have Mike Costello. We have Ashley Case. We've got Dave Thompson. We've got Bob Bear, and we've got John Beckett with us as well. So next up is acceptance of the agenda. Can I get a motion, please?
Second.
Very good. Second, any comments, edits?
Okay, the minutes,
Yes,
can you
please.
hear me?
Any comments? We
Yeah,
can.
I don't have a picture, it just says Zoom. Okay, the only comment I have is that I was present and I'm not listed as among the people present.
Good catch. Good catch. Any other comments? That was it?
That was
Thank you.
it.
Wow. Anybody else? Very good. We have a motion. We have a second. Did I miss that? Man, I'm slacking. That's what happens when you have a month off. All right, so can we finish up the minutes? Because we have a motion in a second and then I'll do the agenda, or is that? Yeah, or would we be penalized? Make us stay an extra half hour.
February planning board minutes, Krista Schwenzer,
Yes,
Michael Costello,
Yes.
Bob Bear,
Yes.
John Beckett,
Approved.
Dave Thompson,
Approved.
Phil Ross.
Approved. Very good.
Ashley Case, I approved.
Well, very good. Next up, how about we try to accept the agenda this time? Can I have a motion, please?
Everyone just make sure their mic is on if they're voting.
So who had it? So somebody had the motion. How about a second, please?
Second.
Very good. Any comments on the agenda? Edits? Jessica?
For the approval of the agenda, Krista Schwenzer,
approve,
Michael Costello,
Approved.
Bob Bear,
Approved.
John Beckett,
Approved.
Dave Thompson,
Approved.
Phil Rock,
Approved.
Ashley Case, approved. That's 7-4, none opposed.
Very good. Next up, new business. We have two items this evening. First up is a proposed amendment to Article 8 of the Land Use Ordinance, floodplain management, to repeal and replace the article with updated floodplain management standards. And Kyle, reading your summary, it seems like you don't have much choice.
Correct.
So if you could go over what we're reviewing tonight, please.
Yeah. So FEMA administers the National Flood Insurance Program. As part of that, there are flood maps. The flood insurance rate maps are part of that program and are used. Communities take part in the NFIP, and it allows homeowners who live in floodplain areas to get flood insurance for their homes. It allows communities to get more disaster relief money from FEMA in the event of flooding, things like that. So it's a pretty important program to stay in compliance with. We were notified earlier this year. Well, and really there's been an ongoing effort by FEMA to update the flood insurance rate maps. If you see in the ordinance and the memo, we've currently been going off of maps that were done in 1978. So it's sort of been a long time coming, updating the topography data that they use for the maps and things like that. So the state floodplain management office reached out to us. They create different model ordinances for communities to use. They base those model ordinances off of FEMA's standards. And then they supply those to the communities depending on what region they're in, what types of flood areas there are in those communities. So they sent us an updated model ordinance. They took our existing ordinance language that we had. And over the years, there have been sort of several updates to various standards, definitions, things like that, to the model ordinance. So they kind of highlighted each one of those. For us, I did my best to kind of highlight those areas in the draft amendment. Since this is a repeal in place, it's the easiest way to just sort of kind of make sure we're in full compliance with the most recent model ordinance there. The biggest piece that's, probably the most important is sort of right at the beginning in the first section there, where it talks about following the new flood insurance study and maps. And it's, updating that date from the 1978 maps to the new maps that will go into effect July 19th of this year. That's really the most important part to stay in compliance. But then as you go through, there's a few other changes and updates that were made along the way. Some development standards, new standards for utilities to be elevated above flood to match kind of how residential structures are treated. Some new definitions for a few things that weren't covered before. So yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the update goes. Like I said, to remain in compliance, we would sort of, kind of have to follow along with what's provided. If a community was interested in deviating from that, they would have to run that language through the state office and FEMA to make sure it actually complied with the standards, and that we would still be eligible to participate in the NFIP. We frankly don't really have the time to go through that process, even if we wanted to. We have to have our ordinance adopted and in effect by July 19th to kind of keep that consistent compliance with the NFIP. And considering we still have to go through council public hearing and adoption and then wait 30 days for the ordinance to be in effect, we're kind of right up to that July window. That being said, there isn't anything in the ordinance that staff has identified that we necessarily want to change or, come into question. I did also, just for a note, talk with the state planner in the floodplain management office earlier. And they did say, because the maps aren't available on their website currently, the new maps for review, but they are looking to have an open house sometime in, I believe, May, sometime before the new map goes into effect. So community members can go to that event, ask any questions they might have, look at the new maps to see if there are any changes to, the condition of their lot, whether they're in a floodplain and they weren't before, or, whatever changes there might be.
How are we going to notify people of that?
Yeah, it'll have to be an outreach effort on behalf of the town. FEMA doesn't do any notification or anything like that to individuals. So it'll have to be something we notify through the website and social media, which we should be able to do. We can definitely put the link to the digital map up once it's in effect, but we can certainly let people know when that open house comes by. Yeah.
You identify any residents in the floodplain, the affected properties as well? Is that how that works, or just through social media and invite people?
Yeah, I think it'll be difficult to go through property by property. Yeah. Yeah, that would probably take several weeks of dedicated going through parcel by parcel. But so, yeah, we'll probably make I would say a general statement to all those people in the general vicinity of the floodplain. And we can link to the current map so people can, double check the relationship of their lot to the current floodplain to see if they would be interested in something like that.
Thank you, Kyle. Well, this is a public hearing, so I guess I'm gonna open it up to allow people to call in or whatever, because we don't seem to have many people in the audience this evening. But open up the hearing. Any comments, questions on the board? Seem fairly straightforward. Belle, is there anybody online?
Nobody has their hand raised.
All right. Kyle, other communities, I think, are going through the same effort, correct? I mean, it's fairly standard.
Yeah, I would imagine everyone in the region is going through something similar.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah, that's a long time between updates.
Yeah.
I
So,
was,
yeah.
if you have homeowners insurance, chances are your agent would know that you're in a floodplain now and be letting you know when your policy is up for renewal, I would think, right?
Yeah, that was something when I was talking to the state coordinator that they mentioned could happen, is that insurance agents could be aware and reach out to people as well. So that, yeah, that would be another option that seems likely that it could happen, but might not be a guarantee for people.
Other comments? Anything? I did not have any myself. Belle, last call. Anybody?
Nobody with their hand raised.
Very good. Thank you. I'm going to close the public hearing. And I guess unless there's further comments, if we're ready, again, motion, because we're passing this on to council and.
Yep.
then
Yeah,
we
it'd
can
just
take
be
it from there.
a motion to recommend to council.
Yep, very good. Can I have a motion, please? Dave, you want to take a motion in your last meeting? Want to make a motion? Put the pressure on you.
All right, I make the motion that the planning board recommend to the council to approve the new FEMA, whatever they are.
That works for me.
There we are.
Yep, to adopt the new floodplain management standards and replace the old ones. Very good.
Yep, something like that.
That works for
I'll
me.
second that emotion.
Very good. Thank you, Michael. All right. Any further comments? Jessica?
To recommend the proposed amendment to council, Krista Schwenser,
Approve.
Michael Costello,
I approve.
Bob Bear,
Yes.
John Beckett, Dave Thompson,
Approve.
Phil Rock,
Approve.
Ashley Case. Approved. That's 7 for recommendation, none opposed.
Thank you, Jessica. Next up, the annual planning board chairperson and vice chairperson election. And as we discussed before the meeting, just before we have this discussion, I think we, the common practice is anybody that skipped our meeting today, I think, they're right for, so. All right, Kyle, what's the deal?
Yeah, so every April, for the annual meeting to elect the chair and vice chair for the next year on the planning board. Generally, Phil has been doing this for a while. I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts or recommendations or wants to put, anyone forward to be considered for the chair position. I would say now would be the time to bring up such a recommendation. If not, I think, we'd all be happy and content with Phil and continue
By all
on.
means, I've done this a while now, so if anybody has an interest, I'm not wedded to this position, but.
Bill, I think you do a great job.
Thank you, Bob. I do appreciate
Yeah.
that.
And the same would go for the vice chair. Judd is our current vice chair. Of course, it's easy without him here to just kind of
Yes,
Shove it
it is.
But, if anyone else, I would say that if anyone else wanted that role, then we should probably hold off on that until Judd was here. If everyone was leaning more towards wanting Judd to continue in that role, then I would say we could preliminarily
Did you approach him, whether he was willing?
I've not talked to.
Well, again, he's absent
Yeah.
today, so. Thoughts on that?
As they say up in Maine, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say from staff's perspective, the current format of the board has been great to work with. So, I mean, we're not necessarily recommending any changes or anything like that. So yeah, I think the next step, if that was the way the board wanted to vote, would just be to make a motion, probably 2 motions to elect the chair and vice chair positions. And just stay in the motion who we're electing for that position.
Right, yeah, I'll leave it up to the board then. Which one do we want to start with? Volunteer Judd first?
Yeah, I mean, we can start with the vice chair.
Okay.
I would say if, for whatever reason, if Judd ended up having some issue or something, we could kind of amend that at a future meeting, so.
Okay.
I make a motion to keep Judd as vice chair pending his approval.
Thank you, Ashley. Very good. Thanks, John. Any further discussion on that? Jessica, if you can.
For the approval of Judd McIntosh for another season as vice chair of the planning board, Krista Schwenser,
Approve?
Michael Costello,
Approved.
Bob Bear,
Approved.
John Beckett, Dave Thompson,
Yes.
Bill Ruck,
Approved.
Ashley Case.
Approved.
That's 7 for approval. Congratulations, Judd.
Did you say 1 season or 10 years? I missed that. Yeah.
A lifetime of appointment.
All right, I guess next up, the gavel banger, if I could have a motion.
I move that we accept Phil Ruck as our chair for another year.
A second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Jessica, please.
For the appointment of Phil Ruck as chair of the planning board for another season, Krista Schwenser,
Approve?
Michael Costello,
Approved.
Bob Bear,
Approved.
John Beckett,
Approved.
Dave Thompson,
Yes, approved.
Phil, you can't vote for yourself. Ashley Case,
Approved.
that's 6 for approval, obviously with 1 abstaining.
Yeah, I wouldn't approve myself that. No, I do thank you folks for your support. It's a great board to work with, so I do appreciate that. So thank you very much. Next up is discussion. Kyle, I do think there's something very important that we need to go over this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. So board member Thompson, this is his last meeting. So yeah, we just wanted to take some time to thank Dave for the many years spent serving the planning board, as well as a number of other boards. I got some info from Nancy, and so Dave's been on the planning board since 2001, on the tree board since 2001, which he, I believe, chaired or co-chaired the majority of that time. So chaired the Trails Committee since 2001. I believe I was in 6th grade in 2001, so this is pretty crazy to me. Dave was also, and still is, on the Orono Economic Development Corporation since 2012, and was also part of the Comprehensive Plan Committee for our last comp plan in 2015, which has driven much of our conversation and some of the changes and projects that we've been working on since I've been here. So always appreciative of that group. So yeah, I thought we could just kind of take some time. I know a lot of other board members have been around and serving on the board for a while and might have a lot of experience working with Dave here or in other contexts. So I just kind of wanted to give everyone a time if they wanted to, wish Dave well or just kind of have anything to say. So we can just go around.
I'd love to
Yeah.
say a couple words. I'm usually not shy about that, but David, it has been frankly a pleasure working with you over time. Your service to this town is frankly incredible. The number of boards you volunteer for. Sophie, I don't know if there's a record for municipal volunteerism, but I would say Dave has got to be right up there at the top of that list. Again, your commitment to this board and your thoughtful participation has been very welcomed. Again, preparation and speaking your mind through the comp plan process, and this board spent a lot of time together through that process. And I think you probably even did a comp plan before that. But yeah, again, just the level of effort you put in is a big deal to me, and it's been an honor serving alongside you. So thank you.
Thank you. I like to keep busy, and if I keep busy, I keep out of the house, and I keep on the better side of my wife, who, has supported me through all of this service. And through mainly through my computer skills are not very good. They used to be, but they keep changing the programs, and so now I don't know. I'm back with Lotus 1, 2, 3 or something like that.
I thought the tag team of you and Pat for many of our remote meetings was very impressive. You had a very good routine going there where we know Pat would show up in the screen and help you out. So it was a really good collaborative effort at the Thompson household.
Yeah, I look forward to continuing serving on the other boards and stuff that I am now. My main reason here is my hearing is not very good at all. And I felt it's not fair to presenters and to the board that I would have to constantly ask questions. And so I said, well, this is maybe the thing that, where it's a appointed board that makes important decisions for the town, that somebody else can do a better job. So that's the main reason.
That statement right there is an example of your understanding, your commitment to the town. So it's typical.
I really enjoyed it, and Evan Rickett was just a pleasure to work with through the middle years and through the comprehensive plan rebuild. I mean, he did a tremendous job.
Yeah,
and I think we all learned a lot from him and the various things that he did. And I wish he was still here. Not that Kyle isn't doing a good job, but Evan had so much experience in all the different areas of government. So,
around the block.
Yep.
Any others?
Well, I would like to say that Dave didn't speak very often, but he did not hesitate to disagree when he felt the rest of us were all headed off in the wrong direction. And I think that's a very important contribution. So, and when we were in his area of expertise, trails or trees, then he was a wonderful source of information for us.
Right, I can think of the little park, the high school project, the little park there, and Dave was advocating for that little educational area for the town. Great advocate. Yeah. Thank you, Krista.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that.
No, always looking out for the town. That's what I've observed.
I
Anybody
noticed the seat beside Dave to his right is empty tonight. I'm usually sitting there, and I'm gonna miss not having him beside me when we rejoin next month.
Thank you, Michael.
I thought Dave always set a great example of how to be a member of the planning board. Don't sit there and be quiet if you find there's something wrong. Put your hand up and say, I need to talk. Thanks, David.
Well said. Thank you very much. I appreciate the comments. They're well deserved for Mr. Thompson. Sophie, we're here. Would you like to say anything? I'm not putting you on the spot, but you're a lone member of the audience, so I figured I'll put you to work.
So I didn't come to speak
Nope.
today, but I will because, you know, this planning board is an amazing body. You do a great job when faced with having to make some really tough decisions. I will say the reason that I hung around a little bit beyond the end of my regular day was to be able to say goodbye to Dave, not necessarily on camera, but he is an extraordinary volunteer. It's not just the quantity of the hours he puts in, it's truly the quality. He never comes with a problem that he doesn't also, in the other hand, have a solution. And when he wants to do something, he will go do the permitting, work with staff to make sure that everything is taken care of. And he is extraordinary, and I'm glad he's only getting off one board because we really need him for all the other stuff. But I think Dave is really a great illustration of the quality of volunteer that we have on the planning board right now. And I think we can all learn from his example and continue in his absence.
Thank you, Sophie. Appreciate that. Well, appreciate all the comments. We have one last item on our agenda, and it is adjournment. Dave, could you make the motion, please?
I move that we adjourn.
Very good. Can I have a second?
Second.
Very good. Mr. Beckett. Jessica, one last time.
For the adjournment of the April planning board meeting, Krista Schwenser,
Approve.
Michael Costello,
Approved.
Bob Bear, John Beckett,
Approved.
Dave Thompson.
Not approve. No, I approve.
Phil Ruck,
Approved.
Ashley Case. Approved. That's 7 for adjournment.
Very good. Thank you.